Hello, everyone. It's the best boys, Getselious and Sithscott.
Hello.
And this time, for January 2024, new year, new things, we're going to start something off right this time. We're going to talk about games we're looking for that's coming out this month, and all of them are RPGs. So, what are the RPGs we're looking forward to this month? You'll find out in this video. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get this started. So, the first RPG is something that Scott talks about a lot. At least an RPG he's a fan of, you should know of.
If you don't watch this channel, you will now because the Neptunia Sisters versus Sisters is coming to the Nintendo Switch January 24th, 2024. And oh, I'm so excited. So, this special version of, of Neptunia Sisters versus Sisters introduces a lot of things, but also is the complete package from the original release that was from last year, but also releases two new playable characters of Maho and Henri, which, by the way, are characters that should have been playable in the original game, but I'm happy that they eventually rescinded that and actually made it here. So,
Is
Neptunia
it,
Sisters vs. Sisters is coming out in January on Nintendo Switch.
is this a win? So you got two playable characters. Is it so essentially you got Neptunia Golden?
Yes.
That's it. Oh man,
The Game of the Year edition.
Game of the Year edition. So is this a remaster of an OG game, or wait, is it part of the mainline universe or a side game? Because I know Neptunia is pretty big on like having.
So, Sisters versus Sisters is the really wonky one that is both a mainline and a spin-off. It's
Oh
a
wow,
mainline in the sense of it's actually in the Hyperdimension universe, but it's a spin-off because of how the ending goes is basically it's all just a really long thing to introduce the new goddess of the CPU nation, basically.
that's crazy. Oh man. So let's talk about a game I'm looking forward to coming out in January as well. So I'm looking forward to Crystal Story Dawn of Dusk, which comes out January 12th, and it's developed by Fred Brown and published by Fred Brown Games. He just added games at the end of it. It's the same guy. It's the same guy. I know who you are, Fred. I know what you're about. I'm just kidding. So I'm looking forward to this game because it's a indie RPG. It seems like it combines elements that I enjoy from like turn-based. Its pixels really good. It looks something that I would definitely play. It looks something that's up my alley because I generally like games of like a mana style. I love games that have elements of Chrono Trigger and Dragon Quest. So I'm looking forward to see what this game's more about, and it comes out soon, so I'll throw some bucks at it.
Awesome. My next one is The Legend of Grimrock. So, for those of you who are PC players, you probably know that this game came out like 10 years ago. So, it's not as exciting, but this is the Nintendo Switch port with all of its Nintendo Switch glory, which, by the way, since it's like a 10-year-old game, it probably is going to run just fine on a Nintendo Switch. It's
Yeah,
not really deriving new territories, but it's developed by Almost Human Games and published by Almost Human Games. And it's just a really cool, what seems to be like a first-person dungeon crawler with some RPG mechanics and just like time basis. So everything's like in lifetime, so you just have to make sure you're in the right place during puzzles. And there's also a really good community of those who like make custom maps in this game. So it's cool that it's going to be on the Nintendo Switch this year, and it's coming out January 15th, 2024.
awesome. And to not to cut you off, the game also just looking at it reminds me of like elements of Etrian Odyssey, but also reminds me of games like Shiren the Wanderer, where it's very difficult and enemies move the same time as you. So it's like it has that crisp of good JRPG goodness, but also that very painful Western RPG experience. You die, it's over. Get out of here.
Good luck.
Good luck. Yep. So let's get into the next game we're looking into. So the next game I'm looking into is Unfortold Witchstone, which is developed by Spearhead Games, also published by Spearhead Games. It comes out a day before my birthday, Jan 25th, which I will be working on the day before on my birthday eve, which is not a good feeling. So why did I want this game? It looks like it's a good CRPG. I look with the success of Baldur's Gate 3. Let's be honest with you, CRPGs are on the rise. Even though people making CRPGs for a very long time, and they are very aesthetic and popular. I would say Pillars of Eternity, and The Pathfinder series are excellent, and one of my favorites of all time, Divinity Sin 2. These are good games, and even Weird West. They're on the rise. People gonna try them. I'm looking forward to more of the CRPG goodness. Now, what I'm looking forward to this one is that it really has an interesting kind of. It looks like it has an interesting mechanic where the characters kind of shape around the magic, how it works and it doesn't work. So that's kind of cool. And we could get behind a lot of things that go in and out of it. The game's in early access, so there could be much more that build upon it. But I'm looking forward to see how the game works and how it build upon and how much customization I really have. Can I push it? Can I push a child off a cliff and take their gold? Or will you fall off for me and I can't kill children? Which, by the way, I can't believe people in the Fallout 4 community made a mod where we can kill kids. That's pretty messed up.
It's all about freedom of choice.
It literally is. So I'm looking forward to see how well Spearhead Games takes their new game early access and what the premise will be. Because CRPGs are cool now, and I'm willing to try more than I usually play.
Yes, it's actually ironic you say that because my next game that I am excited about is also a CRPG. It is called Sovereign Syndicate. And it is developed by Crimson Herring Studios, also published by Crimson Herring Studios. And it looks like it's a really cool, like, Victorian times type of CRPG that will also add some mechanics of, like, cyberpunk in it. So I'm really excited to see how they kind of migrate that with the CRPG and top-down isometric views, and just how everything works in that regard. It will be released January 15th, 2024.
That is amazing. This looks more detective based. It kind of gives me vibes of like Disco Elysium, which I think is interesting how like a lot of some CRPGs are like less combat based and more puzzle based, which for a point and clicker gamer myself, that's up my alley. And
yes, it is.
Yeah. And by the way, if you look, and I recently played a game that's kind of like this called Detective Reward. It's on the channel right now. Check it out, the full playthrough in 3 hours. You got 3 hours, well, go for it. So, there is something that Scott and I agree upon together, and these are things that we rarely do. He doesn't agree that Tactics Ogre is the best RPG that's been created, and I don't agree that I can overcome my barriers. I think that Lloyd's a horrible main character. These are things we just can never agree upon. But there are things we're agreeing upon today, and there's one game we're both looking forward to, and one of them is Atlas Wept, which is published by Kobe and Wings and developed by Kobe. Just looking at it, it looks like a beautiful love letter to Earthbound Mother games, a little bit of Undertale. It looks, and pixel arts graphically, it looks like a very strong, emotionally narrative-driven game that's also kind of those quirky RPGs I mentioned before.
Yeah, that's almost exactly the same reasoning why I'm excited for this one. Is it does look like it's very inspired by those realm of like Earthbound RPGs, which it's interesting to know just how many RPGs like we're seeing that are from people who are inspired by Earthbound, or at least also now Undertale. But it's all basically centered on that kind of art style and how the pixels work and how the combat isn't just the same attack defend kind of deal that we see from like turn-based RPGs of today.
Right. It's also like the weirdness and the journey how these games work, and I feel like, and like I would say that even like Lisa's that way, but Lisa is a very brutal game and emotionally and physically. But it just feels like the effect of Itoi, and I do mean this unironically, one of the greatest like minds to create video games. He's only made 3 games, and yet there's millions of people who are inspired by what he's done and made. So, shout out to him having the big brain, and shout out to people being inspired by him to also make their own takes and spins and telling interesting narratives with this thing. It's one of the reasons why to this day I stand by, and Scott, you probably do too, turn-based RPGs will outlive every genre because there's so much creativity you can do with it, even if you're inspired by older games.
Yeah. I mean, we have newer turn-based RPGs, and then we have older turn-based RPGs, and we also have like RPGs that are based off of both of them now.
Yeah, it's crazy. So Scott, you gonna let them know what else we agree upon besides that I have great hair?
So the final game that we both agree that we're excited on is Like a Dragon: Infinite Wealth. In case anybody is surprised that we like a Dragon.
It's a Yakuza game. It's a Yakuza. Like, I'm sorry. You have to be some kind of weird person that doesn't like Yakuza or hasn't played Yakuza. It's Yakuza.
Yeah, you just have to like be in that sphere to understand that these games are like revolutionary for everything they do. And
Yeah.
Infinite Wealth looks like it's going to be that same sphere. Developer Ryuga Gotoku Studios, published by Sega, released January 25th of this year. And it's going to be a larger section, and everything's just going to be so much bigger, which is going to be great.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the mini games. I'm looking forward to my Pocket Racer dreams. I love there's a new setting. I love that some people that I follow are on the project of this game. So it's gonna be great. I just want to see how far this goes, how weird this gets, because Yakuza is such, like, Yakuza as a franchise to me is, as somebody who loves JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, I feel like I say it a lot, but being so offbeat, so bombastic, actually gives you more style than it should.
Yeah, it definitely is like that.
I mean,
but it's weird because these games are like the one that have like some very serious conversations, and then in like the next section, you're just like racing little pocket carts to make sure that you are the winner.
or playing playing mahjong to win like $20, or helping a guy deliver medicine just because.
Yeah, like you could have some of the smallest like side quests and just like, oh, I'm helping this kid get his balloon out of a tree, which there's oddly quite a few of the Yakuza games where that is a side quest where you just randomly have to find a balloon for a kid.
And then beat up everyone else in town to defend that balloon with your life.
Yeah.
It's insane, but it's like, and the thing is about, like, Yakuza has moved from being I would say an action RPG or just an action-based game to a turn-based RPG, and that transition was pretty smooth. So I'm looking forward to see
extremely.
I'm looking forward to see what new mechanics, new mini games, and what this another tale in the strange and beautiful world that is Yakuza. That is the Yakuza franchise.
And we will be there just like a dragon.
Yep. And with that out of the way, I think is coming out for our first video of the year of, talking about RPGs looking forward to for the month. So, and these are the RPGs we're looking forward to in January 2024. Be sure to check them all out if you can, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
See ya.